a day after the Foreign Secretary briefed the delegations going abroad to share India's message of Operation Sindoor, two groups have left for the global capitals. Remember that the 7 groups are heading to the US, West Asia, Japan and other regions to send a message against terrorism. Sumita Kareer joins in with all the details. Take it away, Sumita.
Yes, in fact, India's message as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, India's messaging to the world has begun. The diplomatic outreach has begun. At least 2 sets of these 7 delegations that you were talking about, 2 sets of these delegations are leaving today. The one led by Srikant Shinde and, of course, the other one that, of course, is led by Sanjay Jha of the JDU. Then there is another delegation that's all set to leave for Russia and other neighboring countries that will be led by Kanimoy of the DMK. The messaging is going to be a pretty cohesive one, which is going to be centered around the fact that India is now taking a no-nonsense approach to terrorism. There is no tolerance for terror, and any act of terror is going to be equated with an act of war, is what sources are telling us. Sources also tell us that these delegations that are visiting these several global capitals will be engaging with policy makers, heads of states, of course, the Indian community in those countries, and of course think tanks as well, to pass on this message, to give a briefing about how Operation Sindoor was executed, was conducted. These were precision strikes. There was no damage done to any civilian population in Pakistan. However, India did manage to very successfully hit the terror hotbeds in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So that's one messaging that's going to be going out from India. The other messaging is going to be around the fact that, terrorism does not just impact one country. It is a malaise that impacts all people across the globe. So this outreach is being made, and most important thing to understand here is the fact that these countries that India has selected to make that diplomatic outreach, these are permanent and non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Remember, Pakistan is a non-permanent member of that. It's also making its own outreach that seems to be a copycat of India's diplomatic plan of action. However, important to also know that India is not making any diplomatic outreach as part of this 7 delegation grouping that's leaving today. India is not making any outreach to countries like Turkey and of course China. So very important, crucial visit being undertaken by India's lawmakers. Of course, there are members of the diplomatic community as well. There are ex-ambassadors and of course members of opposition parties taking that message across to the world that India and Pakistan should not be hyphenated. There should not be any hyphenation, given the fact that India has been a victim of terrorism since decades and Pakistan the perpetrator.
Sumita, thanks for that. So 2 groups out of the 7 have embarked on their journey to spread India's message of Operation Sindoor globally, but we'll bring you more updates as and when this develops going ahead.